Yo, what's going on YouTube? Kind of a, different little setup. As you can see by the title of this video, I'm making a video on the Avid Carbon. I've been talking about it on my channel for a few months. Well, actually probably longer than that, but and there's a video that I made on why I got rid of my Apollo. I'm just kind of looking at it from a recording engineer's perspective and not like a studio or not a producer or whatever. If I was a serious like recording engineer recording all the time, like this is like way more than enough, if not better in some cases. I've had it for a year now, like just hit a year like last week or something, and I kind of wrote down some things that I think is important when you're trying to find an interface and what makes this interface unique. So yeah, let's start there. First thing I have down is compatibility. Basically, they made an interface that integrates with Avid Pro Tools really nicely. If you've never heard of it, go check it out, go read about it, watch some videos. It's really cool. But since it is geared towards Pro Tools, I just wanted to make sure that I mentioned that it is compatible with other DAWs. The major two that I've personally used, and one of them besides Pro Tools that I use like on a daily basis, is Ableton and FL Studio. No issues with tracking and all that stuff. It still shows up, still recognizes as your normal interface or whatever. Obviously, you're not going to get all the bells and whistles that integrate with what would be useful in Pro Tools, which makes sense. And then the next thing is I/O. There is a lot of I/O. There's a lot of things that you can do with it. I'm just scratching the surface basically because I'm just using it here in my apartment for now, and I've just been mixing and I've been recording. I've taken it to a few studios to use it to record just because I'm so used to it. I'm so comfortable with it, and I'm just trying to avoid latency and all that stuff, which I will get to. But the I/O on it is super nice. I mean, there's just so much you can do. It basically has 8 pre's, just like if you can think about like the Apollo X8P or 8 pre or 8P, whatever it's called. It's basically, they're directly competing with that interface essentially. But yeah, it has 8 in, 8 out on analog, has 8 built-in pre's that are all controlled just like an Apollo on the front or in Pro Tools. And then it has ADAT, and it has a microphone for talkback, which is nice. It has 4 separate headphones, so you can do 4 separate mixes, which is really nice. And it also is set up for Dolby Atmos. But yeah, which is really nice because I'm only utilizing, a couple microphones at a time. I have maxed it out before. There's been a few sessions where I've done like a full band or whatever, and I've definitely maxed it out. And then also me bringing a Snake, DB25 to XLR TRS, I was able to also track with and through outboard gear. And then also I did actually pair this up with an Apollo through ADAT, and it worked totally fine, super smooth as far as like on the Pro Tools side. Just showed up, just make sure that you have your typical ADAT stuff checked out in your IO, and it worked totally fine. And it has built-in DSP, or their cards basically built in. This has 8 chips, I think. If it's wrong, I'll correct it on the screen. But basically, off the top of my head, I can think of like Mic DSP, obviously Avid, Softtube, Plugin Alliance, Sonics, because I also bought some Sonics plugins to be able to use in DSP mode when you're tracking. And if you're not familiar with that, like I said, I'm going to reference the Apollo a lot. It's basically you're able to record through these plugins in real time with near to zero latency. So it's pretty cool. So there's like definitely plenty of plugins to choose from. I've actually tracked through UAD plugins natively with this interface, and it's like totally, I was actually surprised. Like I actually did it by accident, and I was like, oh shit, there's probably some latency. And I asked the artist, I was like, are you here? Is it late? Like, I'm sorry, like in your headphones. They're like, oh no, I didn't notice anything at all. So I was like, oh great. So this is a pretty quick interface. I was able to use my investment as far as like Plugin Alliance and Softtube, because I have a lot of plugins by them, and then now Sonics, and then a couple of Mic DSP. But I was basically able to record through plugins that I've never recorded through before, in achieving like near to zero latency. And as far as I know, this interface, I could be wrong as of this video, and especially if this video is out for a few years, I'm sure companies will come out with faster things. But as far as I know, technically this is the fastest interface on the market right now. Like I said, I could be totally wrong, but I'm pretty sure last I read, and from my understanding and research, that this is still technically the fastest interface. I'll put the exact amount of latency on the screen somewhere, but this is like definitely way faster than the Apollo. Like I was when I still had my Apollo twin, I was like, there's no way it's like that much quicker. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like how much quicker with low latency can you get? But it almost made when I compared it, it almost made the UAD feel like the UAD was late, like it had latency, even though I was like, in DSP mode, monitoring through the console app and stuff, just avoiding Pro Tools in this case, just to make sure it's a fair comparison. And yeah, it was just so crazy. I was just like, whoa! It just made UAD feel like there is some latency. Like this interface is so quick, and then when you come out of low latency and you just kind of monitor through natively through the interface, like it is such a huge difference. Obviously, it's going to be with any interface, but this is like night and day, especially compared to something like the Apollo Twin. And I'm not too familiar with other companies as far as their DSP capabilities and low latency mode. I'm sure, they're low latency. And not to say like you can't track through those things, but I'm just saying this is like noticeably difference. There's a noticeable difference, and I was super, super impressed. Like I was just not expecting that at all. It's just like how much more low latency can something get? But yeah, this thing, it's crazy. It's crazy. It's fully integrated into Pro Tools, which is super nice for me personally. Like I said, I do all my tracking and mixing and mastering in Pro Tools. I do some production or whatever, but the integration has just been like a breeze for me. It's been like a lifesaver. Like I know that if something isn't working, do I need to check like another app? And I've used the Antelope application. That shit is the most complicated thing. I know it's because I'm not familiar with it, but at least with the UAD, I can confidently say that like if I had never used their program before, it's way more easier and less overwhelming compared to the Antelope. And this was like 2 years ago, so I don't know. Maybe things have changed. But I was at a studio and the engineer had an Antelope interface just to like do like headphone mixes and stuff within the app. Like I was just like, whoa! Like I was just like, I'm not even gonna watch. This is like already hurting my brain. But like I said, things could have changed. But it is nice that this is integrated with Pro Tools and they didn't do a separate app. They integrated everything in there. So if I have any I/O issues, I need to do custom headphone mixes for every individual headphone on here, which there's 4. Everything is done in Pro Tools, which is super nice. And then another thing, this is kind of like a plus because I think this is a niche thing, is 32-bit recording. This is something that is definitely not necessary. I'm actually learning about it. I'll just leave it at that. I'll just let you do your own thing. And then when I feel okay talking about it and really giving an in-depth review on why I would do it, then I'll make a video on that. But I'll just leave it at that. I guess like the thing I forgot to mention is that the last, I think preamps 5 through 8, you can change the impedance on the preamps, and then you have a phase flip and all that stuff on there. Dim. You have all your basic stuff. It's also can be like a monitor control if you want to go that route. I mentioned earlier I'm gonna make a video on the things I don't like about this interface, so maybe I'll do like a comparison on the things that I do miss about the UAD stuff. I'm working on a studio right now, so once I get the funds for it in the long run, I definitely want to upgrade to like a Matrix or whatever because that interface is crazy. Sounds good. And this will integrate right with it, which would be great. And I can still use this for years to come. But anyways, yeah, that's it. Let me know if you liked the video. If you have any questions in the comments, if you have this interface, is there anything that you like about it or don't like about it? Yeah, watch my other videos. I just dropped a pretty good video a couple days ago. I appreciate everybody subbing. All right, I'm out of here. Peace.